That cannot be. Can you guys hear me? That's weird. The sound is working on my end. I can see the bar moving. So, okay. No idea what happened just there. So I'll start again. Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're going to talk about the preview because we do play Milan tomorrow. And I think we're all kind of waiting for that. And we're going to talk about the first part of the show about the transfer news or lack of transfer news, the weird Kolo Muani drop a couple of hours ago, and then some Tomori links and some other links as well, which we're going to talk about, and maybe potentially we'll get some more news as the show goes on. Before we get into it, as always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's go. Let's start off with Kolo Muani, because earlier today, or like let's say around midday, I actually forgot because the club has put nothing out for Kolo Muani. Like literally, they deleted it, and then they did nothing. They didn't show him doing any medicals, like absolutely nothing. So around midday, I was like, oh yeah, because it was almost time for it was around 1 o'clock, and in a half hour, Mota was doing his press, and I was like, oh yeah, Kolo Muani is still not announced. Actually, I actually completely forgot about it, and I was like, something is off, but I had no clue what was gonna be off. I saw the reports a couple of days ago. But that he was wearing some sort of brand, not sponsored by Juve. That was obviously not the case. But I was like, weird. What is happening? I had no clue that this was happening. So the news is that PSG, you can loan out a max of 9 players above the age of 21. Or something like, or under the age of 21. I don't know what it is. 9 players. I don't know the rule. And they have already loaned out 9 players. And that's why, well, we cannot make the signing official because PSG are not, allowed to actually loan out Kolo Muani. So when that news broke, it was like, I laughed. You needed to laugh. At one point, under 21. Okay, it makes more sense, really. When that news broke, I started laughing. Like, you just need to when that news broke, you need to laugh. Otherwise, you will start crying. And that has nothing to do with, man, we're missing out on a world-class player. That's not the point right now. Like, that's actually not the point, because I see many take it out of, like, even journalists saying that, hey, come on, chill, it's Kolo Muani. That's not really the point. Like, it could have been, I don't know, a 40-year player coming out of retirement. That's not really the point right now. The point right now, that's really unprofessional from PSG's end, like really unprofessional. It's incompetence of an insane level. Let's be completely honest. For a club of that structure, PSG, like, forget PSG, like that can be Nice or a Stade de Brest. Like, I don't care. Le Havre playing in 2nd division. I don't care which team, your professional team. That is crazy. Like, to send out a player to Torino to do his medicals, meantime sign Kvara, and then when the papers are sent through, you're like, oh snap, we can actually not loan out Kolo Muani. Like, that is incompetence of an insane level. And I dragged Giuntoli into it, not because he should have known. I don't know, like, I have no idea how he should know that PSG can only loan out 9 players. Like, and they already loaned out 9, so I don't know how. Like, you cannot check that, but it's just fitting for the incompetence of this January transfer window. That's why I dragged them into it, because the timing is up. Let's say, because now the reports are saying that PSG will find a solution. They will call somebody back, somebody from from Besiktas, or they will, flip him to Besiktas on a cheap deal just to get this done. So the reports are everybody is calm. PSG is calm. Juve are calm. And Kolo Muani are calm, that it will get done, that they will find a solution to bypass that. However, I put Giuntoli in the mix, in the blender of the mistakes, not because he should have known, but it's the 17th, it's the 18th of January. It's the 18th of January. I think the transfer window shuts down the 2nd of February or the 3rd of February. I'm not so sure anymore. So it's a good 2 weeks of a transfer window right now. And we are running extremely late, because we knew what we needed to do and we failed. That's like, it's okay to say. I'm not even one of these guys, a person saying get Giuntoli out. I'm not there, because I said I need to see a full second summer, and then I will make up my mind. And I'll stick with that. In the meantime, I will call out what I don't like. I don't like that it's 2 weeks left and it's the summer all over again. Like, just sit back and think about the transfer targets at center back. Just think about it, or just think about the timeline. The timeline was Bremer goes down the end of September, Cabal a couple of weeks after that as well. So let's say, let me be nice, you have 2 months, 2 clear full months to plan some targets. It hits January, and the reports are we want Hanchko, but Feyenoord are not going to sell him. Okay, we want Antonio Silva. You know what? Agreement with both players. Benfica are like, no, we're not selling mid-season. Okay, let's go for Tomori then. Okay, it could be possibly happen, you know. Fonseca gets sacked, Conceição comes in. No, Tomori's not leaving. Okay, let's push for Araujo. Deal in place almost with him, so on. His agent turns around, you know what? He's going to sign with Barcelona again. And the club is like, let's go back to Tomori. I mean, if that's not incompetence, if that is not horrendous planning for a top club in desperate need of center backs, like a clear, defined. It's not that if we don't get a player, if we don't sign a player, are we still good? No, we needed to sign a player anyway. To go from A, B, C, D back to C or B, whatever, for me is incompetence. Like, I'm sorry, that's not okay. I really believe that Mota wakes up every day and he starts praying that Kalulu and Gatti stay fit. Because what else does he need? Like, what else can he do at this stage? Like, it's actually a miracle, and knocking on wood, that Gatti and Kalulu are staying fit. It is a miracle. With our injury record, with Kalulu's injury record the last season or two, it's a miracle that these two guys are staying injury-free. It's actually a miracle. And Giuntoli is just taking his time. Now, again, I'm not saying get him out. I give him in the second summer completely. I said that the moment he signed the contract 2 years ago, whatever. I made that statement. I'm sticking with that. But to sit back and now saying, oh, but what can he do? It's January. It's complete bullshit. I'm sorry. It's complete bullshit. To top it off, there's news out there that we actually might flip Cambiaso, another defender. Like, we're already short from defenders. You push Danilo out, and now you're actually potentially contemplating if you want to move on. If you want Cambiaso money, fine, I guess. But tell Man City it's in the summer. It's not happening now. If it's gonna happen, be honest, or like be real and look Mota in the eye and tell him I'm not gonna screw you over. Now let's say they move out Cambiaso. How? Like, I feel for Thiago Motta in that aspect, because you cannot lose Bremer and then Cabal and then ship out Danilo, I guess, and then sell Cambiaso, and you're like 2 days before the window shuts, or let's say a week before the window shuts, here comes Tomori. Like, how? Like, how can you get away with that? Like, you need to be called out for that, and that's what I'm doing. Like, fine, you know, I don't like what's happening. So he's not to blame for the Kolo Muani thing, because again, that's PSG's job. That's just insane that it actually happened. I think that's the first time I heard that. You know, not like pre-transfer. Oh, it cannot happen because this and this. Fine, but to send out a player, let him do his medical, set up all the paperwork, and the moment you need to basically sign the paperwork, somebody's like, oh, snap, it's impossible to do. Like, that is actually. That's actually insane. That's really insane to me. But again, that might just be me. Honduras not homegrown. We are good. What do you mean, Norbert? I'm sorry. I don't get it. Did somebody say he's homegrown? If he's out, Mota goes as well. They're a package deal. You would assume, I guess, but Giuntoli's not leaving. Like, he is in control right now. He's not leaving, but the way he's operating looks like the last previous years, where we're all, you know, confused as of like, is somebody actually in charge? Is somebody actually trying to do something good over here, or does anyone know or has a clue what needs to get done? Because to be honest, going into going into a transfer window, like based on defined position, like going into the January transfer window, it was clear. Like there was not, you didn't need to overthink anything really. We need center backs, and if you can, you bring in a striker as well. We did that or close to doing that, but the center backs were always a priority. Always a priority. Maybe it felt like the striker was a priority because Vlahovic was missing the two last games, but in general, um, that was always going to be the priority, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, you cannot see the chat, and I messed that up. That's for later on. Okay, here we go. That was always a priority. Center backs. Like we can see how we're struggling without Bremer, and I'm not the biggest fan of Gatti. People know that. I'm not even extremely high and sold on Kalulu, but I'm just looking at the options, like keeping players fresh, giving Thiago Motta some options and some a cushion to say, you know what, I'm gonna rotate one of these two center backs because again, like we play a lot of games. It's Milan now, it's Bruges, it's Napoli. Is it then a week off and then it's I don't know, then it's I don't know who it is, and then it's Benfica. But the point is we play a lot of games, you know, and you're banking your hopes on two players staying fit, or you're actually one muscle injury away from playing two games with Locatelli at center back. That's basically what it is, you know. And if you cannot turn around in that case and say Giuntoli is failing at this moment in time, because you get called out if you say that, for me that's actually insane. Like, it's fair to say that. Like, he's failing. He's failing Malta and he's failing the team. Actually, he's failing himself as well. But I guess for some, it's okay. And he's doing a good job. So, yeah. Hey, look, keep up the good work. Like the realistic content you put out. No sugarcoating everything you with us. Calling out a spade, whatever goes. Yeah, I mean, some like it. Some do not like the contact. Again, I don't force anyone to watch my videos. So if you don't agree, then fine. You know, you can tell me you disagree. Many do in the chat. Just keep it clean. And it is what it is, you know. But thanks for watching. Yeah, I mean, prepping for Milan, we will go in the predicted lineup. It's straightforward because we only have a certain amount of players available. So I think, yeah, it's another week left. I know Giovanni Albanese, Mirko Di Natale, basically everybody came out saying that, you know, tomorrow they will hold talks with Milan for Tomori and potentially make a bid. I saw a report from a Milan watcher saying that Conceição wants to keep Tomori. However, the people in charge told them that they need to generate some funds, you know, and Tomori could be one of those guys. So if the offer is good, they might be quote unquote forced to sell. But what is a good offer for Tomori right now? Because we played our hands. They know we had some money to put on the table for Araujo. So Tomori's not going to be cheap. I don't know, like, what is a fair price for Tomori? Because some of you guys actually do rate him, and I don't think Tomori is a scrub or something. It's just underwhelming. I don't see a future with Tomori. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, I feel like we're wasting money because we're not going to win anything this season. You know, you just need to improve, obviously, and balance the ship. But to do that, you know, do you really need to spend 35 million on Tomori? Like, it feels like just a massive waste of money, if you ask me, because you're not going to get that money back with a player like Tomori. Like, I'm okay with not getting your investment back on certain players, but that means those players need to be absolutely insane. Let's say, and I'm playing devil's advocate right here. Let's say it's not the case because Salah is a free agent, but let's say Salah had a 1-year deal at Liverpool, and they're like, yeah, you can get him for 40 million for 2 years. In Serie A, you will get a lot of him out of him for 40 million. In that case, I think a lot of people can say, you know what, even if you don't get our money back, that's massive. If you are obviously a set team and you only needed 1-2 pieces. But in this case, we still need so much. So spending that amount of money for Tomori, who is just, he's physical, he's fast, or like he can recover space a lot, which is a plus for Motta. I feel that on the ball, he's just okay. He's not, you know, Calafiori-esque, definitely not that. So I don't know what really the direction is if you splash 35 or so on Tomori. I don't see the direction. I really don't in that part, or in that case. So because Indures. Why is it not coming up? Okay, so because he's 20, he will not count as a six players can be loaned out, but he's now homegrown, so he counts. Oh, like that you mean? Fine. Mota seemed confident in his presser. The Kolo Muani deal will go through. Yeah, I mean everybody's confident. PSG and the player and Juve. It's just it screams incompetence. You know, it's a bad look. That is more so the issue, I guess. And we play Milan, we play Champions League, and you still have these players not ready. Like that is the case. Like it's a loan until the summer, basically. So there's only a limited amount of time, and we need to make up for so much ground in so much, in so much of a space of time. Was it 3-4 months? That it's like every day you're missing, every game you're missing, and they're coming thick and fast. It's just if it's wasted. Like let's call it what it is. It feels wasted. Um, yeah, I don't like the argument that financial objective comes from sporting. If we fail to reach sporting, then financial objectives goes out of the window and we become strictly selling club. I don't like the argument that financial objectives come before sporting. Oh, okay, now I got it. No, but they go hand in hand right now. In our situation, they go like we are not in a situation to take risks, you know, to spend money on players and you're like, it didn't work out, cool. And we might have done that this summer, past summer, who knows, you know, you tell me. With potentially Colt Miners and Douglas Luiz, and some might say Nico Gonzalez. So you can say we already did that. But going back to the Cambiasso news really quickly, because there is a journalist working for, I think it's Repubblica. It is a Repubblica. He wrote an article, or he wrote an opinion piece, and he said that we are a selling club. How do you define selling club? Because if you look at our past, we've always done these things. We've always sold our best players at one point. Like it always has happened. You know, there's only a few teams who do not really do that because of status and financial situations. But we have always done that. You can go back at times where I was not even watching football. You know, we've always done that. But in our best years, and that's most of the time, we spent that money wisely. That's it. And also the transfer market was more different back then. You know, you're not gonna get selling Zidane and invest that money in three world-class players. Like that's, or like you can end up investing that in three world-class players, but on like you don't know in this modern day. You know, back then you know Buffon was gonna be a superstar. Like you absolutely know that. Right now, whoever you buy, it's more of a guess because of the money is so high. Back then it was well defined. You know, if you paid that amount of money, it's certified baller, world class. Right now, you can spend, I don't know, Napoli are willing to play close to 50 million for Garnacho. Like, I can actually not believe that that's actually a thing. Like, have you watched Garnacho play? Like, if that's a 50 million euro player, that's mind-boggling. Like, that's actually insane, you know, that's happening. That's Napoli's issue. But, you know, that's football right now. So, if you get 60, 65 for Cambiasso, you might end up spending, I don't know, like 40 on Dorgu and you get Tomori. Is that the investment we want to do? Or like, let's say if we got 60 million euros in 2004 or 2001, you can almost bank your savings on it that we will get value for money. Right now, it's not the case. I think that's the biggest issue right now. But you need to keep an eye on the finances. Like we absolutely do. It's a sad reality, but yeah, it's that. This whole day, I've been thinking to myself: is the goal to become an Atalanta-like club, generate good players that sell for a lot? Who says the manager and owner still see Juve what's supposed to be? They don't. One sec. Sorry. But yeah, that what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was reading out the comments. Sorry. No, we're not gonna be that club, but we've always sold However, I think when people say we're selling club, people like to go overboard, me included at times. But when people say selling, if you say selling club, some mean Ajax, Dortmund, like Benfica. We're not that. However, we saw Pogba, Vidal. Like it happens. Like it really, really happens in the past as well. You can go back every single season, but not almost. It happens. It really, really happens. It's sad. It's frustrating, but that's how we did business in general. But I'm talking about one in 2 3 seasons, not every season one, because that's usually what happens with Dortmund and Ajax and Atalanta and Benfica, name it. That's not the case. Like we sell one, and usually we invest that money to be good for the next 3 4 5 years. It's just frustrating. That's obviously the takeaway. 100%. Sell without reinvesting the proceeds directly back into the team. That's a selling club, but we are gonna reinvest. Yeah, or did I miss something? I know you're skeptical, but did I miss a time that we sold players and we didn't reinvest that money in the club again, like transfer wise? Maybe it's me. I'm actually blanking out something. Could be, but I cannot recall that, because usually when we sell a player, reinvest that, or it goes straight back into the club. As far as I know. Today's Zidane would have been sold for 150 plus, well, even more. If Declan Rice is 100 million, then yeah, a lot more. Yeah, De Ligt. We sold De Ligt. We got Bremer. Joking little, but our squad became very thin. Well, it's not a joke. It's a fact. It really, like, we actually trimmed our squad a little bit, and now it's kind of it feels decimated because of the injuries and stuff like that. So yeah, it is thin, but we knew that going into the season. It just got worse because we got injury on it upon injury, and not just 1 week, 2 week. Players out for 2 months, a month, 4 weeks, like. That made it look even much worse. Like that's just a fact. That's why I'm pissed that it's taking so long to bring in anybody. Just like I said, like just a heartbeat, somebody on the bench, just in case. But yeah, that's potentially just me, I guess. So yeah, I get the frustrating with selling Cambiaso, especially right now, like in general, just selling Cambiaso, obviously, period. But if you do that now mid-season, knowing what the situation is at center back, yeah, I cannot, like, I get the plus Valenza stuff and balancing out the books, but I cannot explain that mid-season. I just can't, with all the things going around, I there's no way you can sell the fans that. There's absolutely no way. And that's what I said a couple of days ago when people said we don't have power over the club. We do have power. Like, football exists because of us. Let me check out the Romano post really quickly. It better be something useful. If it's another 100%, Juve have planned new approach to Milan for Tomori in the next day. Still high onto my list. Juve also got Devo Hanchko, initial green line to join the project. Likely to happen in June rather than now, as Feyenoord insists to keep him. Yeah, so I won't like it. You're right. I don't like it. And also it's kind of repetitive. It's like what we knew. There's nothing new. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I had a talk with somebody and said we don't hold power over the club. We do. Like, football exists because of us. Because we pay, I don't know, whatever you DAZN or Sky, whatever you have. We pay tickets, you buy merch, like whatever. Football exists because of us. Sponsors pay the club a lot of money because millions of people watch it every single week, every single day, whatever. So football exists because of us. We hold power over the club. I've said it many times. When things are like, there's a difference in supporting the club and blindly supporting the club. That's just my opinion. Like, you can support the club even when we're bad. I do that. If I didn't support the channel, people think when I'm critical about the club, I don't support the channel. If I don't support the channel, you think I would be doing this and be stressing out every single day on camera, off camera? No, like, it makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense. Somebody told, because you make a lot of money off it. I don't. Like I pay more with all my subscriptions I use, and I pay more than I actually get out of it, which I do not care because I like to talk about football. I like to talk about Juve. I like to talk with people. I like to bring on people and have a discussion. That's what I do. If otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this because ever since the channel started, we went downwards. So there's no fun out of it in that aspect. But you hold power over the club. You do. If it's bad, it's okay to say it's bad and you still support a club. I think it's more damaging if you try to talk everything, or you have an excuse for everything rather than call it out, because they will just go on and do their thing if you call out absolutely nothing. I've said it, like merch, for example. They put out merch, the most ugliest shirt you will see out there, khaki green, limited edition. It goes out of the door when you're sitting like that's an awful jersey. There's no way anyone really likes that, but you buy that. They on the website, it's chairs with Juve on it, and people buy it, and I'm like, cool. But when you keep doing that, you also cannot turn around and then say, hey, the club is rubbish. Why are you not acting properly? Because, well, you keep investing money in the club, and they're like, yeah, like we can get away with it in the end of the day. I had Real Madrid on against Celta de Vigo in the cup, and it was 2-2. And it goes to extra time. They were booing them. When they came on to warm up in that Celta de Vigo game, the fans were booing the Real Madrid players because they just lost the Super Cup against Barcelona. They're winning stuff year in, year out, basically. Yes, they have more funds, but those fans hold their teams accountable. I'm not saying go to the stadium and boo, because I'm not one of them. However, I will stay away if the club is not acting. Nothing against the players, but the club. That's all I'm saying. So it's fair to criticize the club. And right now, things are not going as it should. So you need to criticize them. That's it. Wasn't Pogba into voodoo things? Because it feels like we're cursed, honestly, with all the strange. Hey, you might find the reason. I guess I personally refuse to buy any new merch until we have more wins than draws. Well, that's fair. I just bought the third kit this season, or the blue one, because it's actually the first one I bought in 10, 13 years, whatever, because it's the first one I actually really like. No sponsor, no ugly logo, just that. So I bought it, no name on the back, just clean, and that's it. I know people who collect them. They buy the first one, the second. I actually know a good friend who buys all three kits every season, and every season he tells me or the last couple of seasons he tells me the same thing. They're ugly. He never wears them. They're ugly, but he collects them, and a lot of people collect them, which is a hobby, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Adidas happy, Juve happy, I guess. More playing time for Rui. Maybe he gets better. Probably no, he doesn't get better. He won't get better. Why is it either Araujo or Tomori? Absurd loop. You tell me. Unprepared. Not a lot of options. I don't know. Desperation mode. Romano's saying no. Dimarto's saying Kolo Muani will not be official a done deal before tonight, so he won't be ready for the Milan game. But the deal is not at risk. Well, we knew that. Like, obviously, it was not going to get announced today, and he was going to be on the bench for tomorrow. That was never going to happen. Like, all the time that passed by, that would actually be an insane plot twist. Okay, let's go to the preview now. I don't have quotes up from Allegri because his presser was it was not very insightful, to be honest. A lot of that was about transfers. I think everybody saw the clip of him saying that that Allegri, Thiago Motta, man, I'm all over the place. I think everybody saw the clip on my channel, or on the channel, or just anywhere, where he talked about, excuse me, where he talked about transfers, and a journalist asked him, "Did you ask the club in the past to keep a player?" And they and they did nothing about it. And he laughed and he said, "Yeah, I told the club in the past with players, and they sold them anyway." Obviously, he was joking because you can see that. I know a lot of people took it to heart and were like, "It's real. It is real." I think he came in and he said, "I want to keep Sule. I want to keep or Huijsen." Like Huijsen came out and he said that Mota wanted to keep him. Like he came out and said that, but they told Sule, excuse me, and Huijsen came out saying, "Well, they told me the club needs to generate funds, and I'm one of the players that needs to be sold." So 100%, Thiago Motta asked Giuntoli, "I want to keep and those players." However, Giuntoli will probably told him, "If you want to do this, this, and this in the transfer market, we need to sell him, and him." And at the end of the day, he accepted that. So I cannot say, "Oh, it's all on Giuntoli." Like, no. Like when you sign for the club, obviously you know what the deal is. He has been told because we were in talks for Mota for months, basically, or behind the scenes. So he knew what the deal was and what the situation was of the club, and that we couldn't keep everybody, and that we need to move on some of these youngsters that we didn't pay basically anything for, a couple of millions, 1.5, a half a million, and we can reinvest the money in the squad. He would have known that, So I don't feel sorry for Thiago Motta and that aspect, excuse me, because it's not that he was in the dark, and that, excuse me, it wasn't that he was in the dark and that the 15th of July he showed up and Giuntoli's like, "Oh, by the way, Huijsen is on his way and Sule as well." Like he was not in the dark. Like he knew because you have those conversations earlier on, so that was kind of the big takeaway of that presser. Other than that, there was nothing really coming out of that. A lot of questions about transfers, that didn't happen already, like Cambiaso, like weird questions. He's obviously not going to say, "Yeah, Cambiaso's on the market, we want him out." He's not saying, like he said, he's going to play. Like he's ready and he's going to play. Like answers you or the questions you ask, and before you ask that question, you're not going to get the answer you actually want, so nothing really about that. He talked about the Milan game, the Supercoppa game, and yeah, he kind of made me relive what the hell happened over there, and it's the same thing over and over again. He said that against Atalanta we play well, but we didn't finish off the job like we have been not doing in the last couple of weeks. That's always the issue. That has been the issue. And that we need to win. Like we desperately need to win to create some momentum, to look at the standings, go into that Bruges game, that we are ready to do anything really. Like really to show up. Tomorrow we need to show up, obviously. Like there's no room there's no room for mistakes anymore. There wasn't room for mistakes weeks ago, but well, there's definitely no room for mistake. You need to beat Milan, who, by the way, have won games and got away with stuff, and that's cool, and that's fine. But tomorrow, you need to win. Like, imagine not winning again, and then a couple of hours later coming out that Milan are open to accepting 35 million for Tomori. That would be absolutely a complete meltdown among the fan base. But man, you drew 13 games. I cannot believe I'm actually repeating that over and over again. There is a preview for Milan. I'm talking about Milan, Lucas, but I don't have quotes because the presser was not that interesting, and I was gonna read off stuff that it was kind of pointless. But tomorrow, like, you cannot end up drawing again or losing, obviously, but that speaks for, you know what it is. If you lose tomorrow, it will be the first loss in the league, and we will be in a complete meltdown. And actually, if I told you in the summer, man, the 18th of January, we will lose our first game in the league. It's against Milan, but it's the first game in the league. I think all of you would never thought that we would be that we would have drawn 13 games, but a lot of you will be like, me included, man. Until almost February, and that's the first loss of the season. It's against Milan. It's shit, it's against Milan, but I'll take that. Well, nobody's gonna take that because we drew 13 games. We won 1 in 7. Like, that is the issue. And at one point, you're gonna lose that game in Serie A. It's gonna happen because we're not that good to not make that happen. However, until that happened, up to that moment, we really need to start winning games. Like really. And that is not win now and draw again and win again. No, you need to start winning game after game after game. We need to have some sort of momentum. Otherwise, we're gonna absolutely smash that Udinese record of amount of draws in the season, and it's not even gonna be close. Tomori's ceiling as a squad player is this all that the sports management can provide? Why are the rest of the clubs and other leagues looking for better players at lower prices? If we want to be a top club again, and we are far away from that, obviously, then yes, Tomori is a squad player. So is Gatti. So is Kalulu. So is Mbangula. Maybe not even a squad player. Like we need to be completely honest with that. Savona. So I get that we do not we cannot take that leap from this to world class. It's impossible for us right now. However, we also cannot take the risk of, like you said, from this to squad player in 2 seasons, but we spend 35 million. That you cannot do, because it's not that we have money just lying around, and to do anything what we want. That's not the case. So I agree with you there. He could definitely play behind Vlahovic or Kolo Muani. He links play so well, like he does with France. Let's see how we will play. What do you think about Kolo Muani playing behind Vlahovic? I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen. It could, I guess, but I don't think. I think earlier on he will rotate him with Vlahovic. I don't think he's gonna play the two of them. That's what I believe. That's what I think, because that means you're gonna need to drop somebody you're not really willing to drop, being Mota, for a player you have on loan for 6 months. That's how I'm looking at it. I think it's more, I'm gonna sub out Vlahovic a minute 50, and again the next week, and the week after I'm gonna start Kolo Muani a game. I think it's gonna be more that type of thing. But you could be right in that regard. I think everything is better than Koopmeiners playing there right now, or Koopmeiners as 9, making runs as a 9. I think everything is better than that, because Koopmeiners is definitely not playing up to that expectation, or like not expectation, like just the bare minimum. So yeah, you could be right, but right now I think he's actually gonna be a like for like for Vlahovic, especially the early stages. Milan sacked their manager for a reason. We better beat them. No excuse in my opinion. Yeah, they sacked him because I think the squad Milan have are better than what Fonseca was doing with them, 100%. And he was doing an extremely poor job. If they kept Fonseca, they were gonna lose close to 8-9 games this season. I think, I believe so. Yeah, they should have sacked him, because he was actually on pace to lose a lot of games, in my opinion. But there are no excuses for us. There are no excuses. Now, let me bring up the potential lineup. It's the same as last week, or it's the same as last week's predicted lineup, because it's Di Gregorio, because Perin didn't train. So it's going to be Di Gregorio. He said that Gatti and Kalulu, obviously, because we have nobody else. He kind of talked about Cambiasso playing, so everybody, Sky, whatever, where I got the predicted lineup, is assuming Cambiasso is going to start, and this time McKennie is actually going to start at left back, like they potentially already thought it would happen against Torino, Thuram, Locatelli. Did I say Torino? Atalanta? Yeah, Torino. Excuse me. So I'm talking about the Torino game, not the Atalanta game. Then it's Thuram, Locatelli back again. Koopmeiners. Yeah. Yildiz, Mbangula, and Gonzalez up top. Vlahovic is with the team, but every report I've seen, every predicted lineup I've seen suggests that he's going to start on the bench, and Nico Gonzalez get another crack at it. And yeah, that should do the trick against Venezia, against Bologna at home, against Roma at home, whatever, against Milan. Like, it should be enough to beat Milan at home, if we're being completely honest. That's not to put down Milan and not to overlook our statement, our form, because our form is what it is. We're not in a situation to, say, oh, we're going to win 100%. We're not in that situation. I get that. However, it should be more than enough. And let me see what Di Marzio is saying. Offer ready for Tomori. Is he mentioning a price? No, he's not mentioning a price. Tomori wants to stay at Milan, he's saying. But Milan are trying to push or convince him to make a move. Oh, it's Kalulu all over it again. And he's saying Man City are thinking about Cambiasso, but Juve want 80 million euros to let him go in January. That's important. Not just in general, because in the summer they might take less than 80 million euros. But right now that's what they're asking. Right now. So yeah. It's funny how crucial coal miners was for Mota to get over the summer, but we still haven't seen him being used in any instrumental way. It's funny. If you love dark humor, then yeah, it's funny. Otherwise, it's depressing. It really is. It is depressing. Hit the like button, people. We only have 20 likes. Do you see a situation where we sell Cambiasso for, let's say, $70 million, 70 million euros to City, and then they loan him to us for no, absolutely no chance. Like, no, not happening. That's not gonna happen. Is this going to be Cambiasso's last game, do you think? No, I don't think so. I could be completely wrong, but we play Bruges on the weekend, on Tuesday, Wednesday, so I don't think it's gonna be his last game. Man, I just don't know how to feel about Cope. Like, why isn't he performing other than using him wrong in the squad due to Mota? I don't know what else he needs to play better as well. He needs to play better. Yeah, positions, I get it, but like he looks off the pace, and he's making very, very, very easy mistakes and very frustrating mistakes. So yeah. Would you take 80 million euros for Cambiasso? Dollars. Let's say euros. Okay. Is he worth 80? And let me know, is he worth 80 million euros? Yes, Cambiasso has to go for 80 million euros. Yes. That's a tough question, because for 80, but like, it's a lot of money. 80 million euros is a lot of money, and like, absolutely love Cambiasso. He's not worth 80 million euros right now. Let's be completely honest. Obviously, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get 80 million euros for Cambiasso. It's just Juve saying, if you want him in January, you're going to need to pay over the odds. In the summer, it will probably be 60, 65. But if he gets 80 million euros, right now the timing is off. So that's one. But just like in a vacuum, 80 million euros for Cambiasso, you would take that. In our situation, the situation we are in, and I get people saying he's Italian, he's young, he should be a pillar of this club. I 100% get that. And in an ideal world, you would sign off for that. That Cambiasso is here for a long-term future at the club, and potentially become the captain. I don't know. But for 80 million euros in our situation, that's a lot of money to put back into the squad. Now, do I trust, based on what I've seen so far from Giuntoli, to use that 80 million euro wisely? No. And that's the issue. Because right now, he's cooking, like, let's take the backline, for example. Let's say it's, in an ideal world, Cabal and Bremer are back in the summer, which is probably not going to be the case. But let's say August. Right now, our center back or our backline is Savona, Gatti, Kalulu, Bremer, Cabal, Alberto Costa, and Cambiasso, whatever, and Tomori. If you sign Tomori and whoever, and Hanchko maybe, is that top level? No. That's my point right now, because that backline needs pure quality. it really needs. I think there's enough quality in midfield. There should be enough quality because Douglas Luiz should be doing better and Koopmeiners should be doing better, much better. So there is enough quality. You need to reinvest that money in that backline. But if you're gonna put money for Tomori and Hansko, I'm looking at, man, we're bringing a lot of the same type of players, like nothing that stands out, in my opinion. And for me, that is worrying. That's why I'm hesitating on really saying, yeah, 100% take that money for 80 million for Cambiasso, because I don't trust Giuntoli to put it to good use right now. I don't see the track record that suggests he's gonna put it to good use. I don't. So yeah. No way you're gonna say no to that. It's a fullback. Yeah. On the flip side, it's difficult to find those positions. It's hard to say no to 80 million. I love Cambiasso, but yeah, that's a no-brainer to sell. Maybe not now, but definitely in the summer. His replacement is a question. I agree, but expect it to be reinvested. Yeah, it's gonna be reinvested, but is it gonna be reinvested in a proper way, like smart? Are you gonna use that money smart, or are you just gonna piss it away basically, and throw it away? That's the worry. It's not worth 80 million as of right now. The dilemma and the real question is, will you replace him in the right way? That is it. Yeah, he's not Kvara level and they got 70 million. Yeah, and actually even I'm not going to speak about Kvara, otherwise people will. Cambias, he's definitely worth 80 million, says Eddie. History and show we won't invest that money wisely. I don't think I agree that he can play 80 million, but like the body of work doesn't. And I know what the transfer window is. I get it. They're paying Marmoush 70, 80 million euros for Marmoush, and he's having one insane season basically. Or like, this is a season everybody's like, oh, he's that guy, and that's a lot of money, So you need to push for 80 million euro. I'm not saying he's not worth that. Don't ask 80 million euros, because the market is that, and it's time for us to step up, I guess. But we watch Cambiasso every single week, or I do, and I try to be realistic. I've not seen 80 million euro like in a normal market, but I get it. If you pay Marmoush 80, if Garnacho's going for 50 plus, then yeah, you need to get the absolute max out of the Cambiasso deal, like 100%. But historically, we don't sell well. We don't sell well. Question: Do you think we attack Milan or counter? We haven't played possession in a while. I think we will attack them tomorrow. It's not difficult in my opinion. Patrick Dorgu is a suitable choice to replace Cambiasso. I like Dorgu. I really like Dorgu. He's one of those players that if you watch him, just the eye test, you're like, man, that looks good. If you look at stats, if you're one of those people and you love stats, you're like, ugh, really? So it's a weird one with him. But I do like Patrick Dorgu. But Lecce, they're gonna ask for 40 million. They're gonna at least, because he will have offers from the Premier League in the summer. I'm convinced about that. Watching Giuntoli signing sign Kimpembe in the summer. Is he still playing? Last few years, we become a club that constantly has to sell off young players, mostly Italians, to make up for the constant foreign buzz we acquired. I don't agree with that last part. Like, we're selling because of the mess that was left behind, and we need to clean up our mess. I like, who did we sell? Italians. Which Italian players did we sell? To like, I cannot recall who we sold, to be honest. Being Italian, Rovella, I think we sold Rovella. Who else did we sell that was Italian? I think it's just Rovella. Nicolucci. I'm not sitting here and crying over Nicolucci nor Rovella, to be honest. Why at the time said keep, but yeah, I'm not going to lose my mind over those two. Definitely not. So we're selling because the books are a mess, and they were left behind in a bad situation, in a bad way. So that's what we're doing right now. But I agree that we might have invested some money in some bad deals. That I'm not going to deny. What would you consider as smart if you're the director? okay, I'm not going to talk about players because players I have in mind, obviously, you're not going to get in January. So that's why I said do not waste money in January that you could have put to fantastic use in the summer for the next couple of seasons. You know, what I want, what I want the club to do, obviously, and a lot of you will not like that, you know, that backline for me is the biggest issue. Also up front, but it depends on what's going to happen with Vlahovic and so on. But that backline, that needs a big, big overall. I don't know nothing on Alberto Costa, so we will see how he will pan out, and maybe it's a fantastic signing. I don't know. Even with Cabal, you know, it was a coin flip. You know, is he going to do well? And now with the injury, you don't know how he's coming back. Same for Bremer. You know, Virgil van Dijk was out for a season with that injury. The following season, it was a horror show. And everybody was like, you're done, you're dusted. And then he had a very good season again. And this season, he's playing again at a high level. So maybe Bremer is not going to have a very good season last season. You know, maybe he's not going to have a fantastic season. So that backline needs an overall, and it needs to be young. It needs to be dynamic because I feel it's very, well, it's everything but dynamic right now, and it kind of puts me off. And I think it puts Mota off as well. So we need to do that, and I need some experience in there. Who that will be, I don't know. Hansko's 27 or will be 27, but yeah, it's the Eredivisie. I still have my doubts on him as well. But like Patrick Dorgu could be an option, which I do like. But you also need to have some sort of experience. And with experience, I'm not saying a 28-year-old. Like you can be 25 and be playing at a high level for 5 years. You know, so that's what I'm. But 35 on Tomori, that's a no for me. We saw Chiesa and Keane, Rugani. Was anyone mad about selling Chiesa, Keane, and Rugani? Well, I'm not. We didn't sell Rugani. We loaned them out after we gave him a new contract, which is still insanely weird. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say I miss Chiesa or Keane. Like I don't miss Keane, and he had a good stretch at Udinese, at Fiorentina, where he was missing goals. But I'm not gonna visit the time at us. He was horrible for us. Like I'm not gonna cry over that. So if he's doing well, Fiorentina, fine. It didn't work out with us, and that's the only thing that matters for me. I wasn't mad about Chiesa. I like Chiesa, but yeah, like the output was not there, and the performances were rubbish last season. Like he had a handful of games. So let's be completely honest as well, you know. And I criticize Allegri for a style of plays, but individual performance, he was bad. He was really, really, really bad. And I don't think we miss Chiesa right now. If I need to look at the Chiesa ever since the injury, we don't miss that Chiesa. We don't miss that Chiesa. And maybe he could have come good right now, but the club made a choice to not take that shot, you know, because of how things were going at the wages, and they took their shot with Conceição and banked their hopes on Yildiz, and I'm fine with that. You know, I don't miss Chiesa in this squad, if I'm being completely honest. Or I wasn't one of the people mad about losing Chiesa. I was more mad about how we were going to replace him. That was my worry, rather than losing out on Chiesa. So yeah, that's that. Now we're getting rid of Dusan and Cambiaso. Well, Cambiaso is Italian, I agree. And I will be pissed. That's a big loss, Cambiaso. But we were talking about players we sold or Italians that were a loss. I don't think it's a loss that we moved. Now it feels like a loss that we move on Rugani, obviously, because of the injuries. But I'm not going to miss Keane, Rugani, Nicolucci. Like, there's no way I'm going to miss those players. You know, not even, like, if we sell Gatti and name the players, even McKennie, who I praised this season playing well, I'm not going to miss these players because I want to go back to 2015, 14, 16, you know, and to do that, I'm not going to moan about losing players that I think are not good enough for the Juve I have in mind. Like, I'm not going to do that. And the players who left in the summer, all of them basically were in that bracket, in my opinion. So I'm cool with that. Prediction, and then I'm gonna wrap it up because my voice is completely gone almost. I want to predict a win because I have a feeling we are gonna win, but I had a feeling we were gonna beat Fiorentina. I had a feeling we were gonna beat Torino, and we end up not beating them. So I'm gonna go 2-1 because I don't think we ever kept a clean sheet in ages, or it feels like maybe I'm forgetting it, but I think we conceded like 7-8 games. So I'm gonna go 2-1, but yeah, somebody's saying 1-1. Will anyone be surprised if we draw again? Like, if we would drew that game tomorrow, I think nobody would be surprised at all. Like, it would be insane that the run continues, like on paper. But yeah, you cannot draw again tomorrow. That will be actually, like, if we draw again tomorrow in the fashion we have been doing lately, I don't think I'm gonna do a match reaction because I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I don't actually do not know how to explain that. So I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm gonna 2-1. 2-1, 1-1, 3-1, 2-1. Vlahovic goal, my prediction. Oh, you're taking the piss. You're absolutely bantering me. Regarding McKennie, it just showed Mota and Giuntoli had bad judgment. He being a rock of a squad, and they said he didn't fit. Well, Eddie, they didn't say he didn't fit. And Mota made that very clear when he came back into the squad. They were very open about it, saying it was a contract situation. He didn't want to sign a new deal, contract running out, and they told him you need to leave. So Mota immediately said, when he was reinstated, that he wanted to keep McKennie, and he also said that it was a contract issue. So they wanted to keep McKennie. He didn't want to sign the deal at first, and that was all the reports. And that was like, okay, you're running out of contract, so you need to move. Like, we're not going to keep you. Then he turned around, accepted Juve's deal, and Mota immediately called him up for the next game. Or he was back in training even before it was officially signed and stuff. So they definitely didn't want to move on McKennie, especially not Mota. He's playing him everywhere, so I think that's obvious in my opinion. There was some misinformation in the summer, which is not fair towards maybe McKennie a little bit, but in this case, I will defend Giuntoli and Mota for that. What's the record for most draws in Serie A, by the way? I think it's 19, Udinese. I think Udinese drew 19, if I'm not mistaken. We will easily beat that this season. On this pace, yeah, and nobody's going to beat that ever again. Okay, that's it, people. I'm going to wrap this one up. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back tomorrow with a match reaction, and then Sunday with a live show, and then it's already build up for the Champions League, and I don't know, maybe some news on a defender. But yeah, people, thanks for watching. Have a good evening and stay safe as always.